ESPN labor analyst Russ Granick is the former NBA deputy commissioner who has been a part of these CBA talks. Your reaction that this news is coming out at this hour right now?
No, it's no surprise, Michelle. I mean, I think it would have taken some really big movement on part of one side or the other, particularly on the part of the league and the owners, in order to have reached any agreement to extend the deadline. And I don't think anybody was expecting that was going to happen today. And so, you know, I think they met a respectable amount of time so that both sides say they showed up and they talked and couldn't do what they wanted to do. And as a result, I think everybody's known for a long time that there would be a lockout tonight.
Let's take a closer look right now at what the key issues are that these two sides are in clear disagreement about, and the main contention. And the biggie, of course, is who is going to get the revenue. Under the current system right now, players get 57% of basketball-related income. The owners haven't budged on the other issues in play as well, as you know. They want a hard salary cap, they want to reduce contract lengths, and they want to reduce the amount for which contracts can be guaranteed. So now that they are, obviously, it looks like they are going to be locking out the players. What do you think is the biggest bone of contention between the sides right now?
There's no question. Simple as it seems, the biggest bone of contention is money, as it is in most collective bargaining. As you said, in the NBA and the NFL now, too, money gets translated into a percentage of the gross revenues that the players receive, and it's been 57% for the last 6 years or so. Obviously, the owners feel that number is now way too high. The players, I think, have indicated that they're willing to shave that down somewhat, but nowhere near what the owners are looking for. And until they can settle that issue, almost nothing else really matters. I think once they could and do decide to settle it, which they will someday, I think everything else is going to fall into place a lot easier.
With those talks breaking down many hours ahead of the CBA expiring tonight, you've been a part of this before. What was taking place in those hotel rooms, in those conference rooms today?
Well, I would guess that there's probably a lot less taking place than most people realize. And when you get down to this kind of stage in negotiations, often when the parties are together, they probably spend 2/3 of the time in separate rooms caucusing, trying to figure out, all right, what do we do next? Are we prepared to move? Are we prepared to do something else? I'm sure the talks were cordial. Everybody realized how difficult the situation was. And I think like I said, they felt, okay, we spent enough time sitting here today. We're not going to get any further. There's no point of making a show of sitting around till midnight when nothing is obviously going to happen today. And they decided it was time to break it off. So
then what happens next?
Well, next, the NBA will announce that the players are locked out as of midnight. The players will all get a mailing or some kind of communication from their individual teams telling them, you know, they're not permitted to come visit the teams or training centers or anything. They're not going to have any contact with their coaching staffs. They're going to lose some of their benefits, like health insurance now, and have to replace it with COBRA. And probably nothing's going to happen now for several days. I think I read recently that, not that I could remember, but that the last time in '98, once the lockout took effect, the parties didn't get together for 36 days. And that, I would guess, we're going to see the month of July go by before there's any serious effort to try and get together again.
And this is a little bit different than the NFL. It's a much longer season for the NBA. In terms of looking ahead and what happened back in '98, where the season was reduced to 50 games, and you just mentioned that they didn't meet for some 36 days. From what you know about what's going on right now, do you anticipate seeing perhaps maybe a repeat of what happened back in '98?
Well, I hope there's not a repeat where you lose 50 games. I certainly do see that there's a definite possibility to losing some games at the start of the season. But, you know, I think people put too much emphasis on how many days are left. I mean, when the parties are ready to make a deal, they can make a deal in 2 or 3 days, and you get the lawyers to work around the clock, and a week later you have a document. It doesn't take that much time once they're ready to make a deal. Obviously, neither side was ready to make any kind of movement today that was going to be encouraging that you could get to a deal at this point.
Have to figure out how to come to some kind of resolution. Russ Granick, great to have your insight into this breaking news that the NBA owners will be locking out the players tonight, 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time.